Well, this week we have a new segment on the podcast, and he was with us during the NFL season. He kicked ass. He's kicking ass in MLB. He's back. The one and only Better DP21 on Twitter and Instagram. I almost forgot you switched your handle on me. How you doing today, man?
Good, Eric. How you been, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So you're out in Colorado. Have to ask you first thing because we do have a lot of NFL in this episode. How do you feel about the Broncos?
I like it. I mean, honestly, it's going to be a hell of a shakeup, in my opinion. Just having Russ on the team and leading. I'm interested to see the rapport that he builds with Judy and the other receiving core and everything like that. And I know we already have a prime back that's ready to take over there from Gordon. So it's looking really good. In my opinion, they've always had defense, and it's just a matter of having that offense match them a little bit. And if the O line is not up to it, Russ can get out of the pocket. So from my view, it's going to be a very competitive team.
I'm not gonna lie. I bet the under 10 wins. Not gonna lie.
That's
let
fair.
him out right now. I bet the under 10 wins. I'm just letting you know. I bet the under 10 wins. So now we're here to talk some MLB. You've been killing it in MLB. You have a money model as normal. You got 3 plays that you're going to be giving out for Friday night. Why don't you tell what your first play is and the thought process for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I like to do, and just give everybody a little insight of, how I go about this. I use my model as a guide, right? Like I definitely can find the value a little bit quicker by, running my stats together. I don't just go just straight off of it just because it says, it's a play. But even though I look at a lot of situational factors that go with that. So that being said, for Friday at this point, with the current stats that I have that are, as of today, um, I'm looking at 3 different plays for tomorrow. And my first play that I want to go over is actually for the Chicago Cubs and San Francisco Giants. That's the last game on the slate for the day for Friday night, but it's the first one that I recognize with the most value on the card. So, right now the Chicago Cubs are on like a 5-6 game win streak for themselves right now, putting up runs, putting up solid pitching. Meanwhile, you guys, San Francisco, going the complete opposite direction, struggling to put up runs, having a lot scored against them, pitchers in bad form. You can almost say the same for this game right now. The 2 pitchers we got for tomorrow are Marcus Stroman and Alex Cobb. And while Cobb is not in terrible form for himself or anything, you definitely have Marcus Stroman in better form. I mean, he's actually sporting a whip of under 1. He's actually at 0.9, and he's got an ERA that's barely above 1 for himself right now, going into this matchup. So something that I'd actually be interested for a prop bet in this game, and this is just kind of on the fly looking at this right now, is the no run first inning for this kind of prop for this game to get started. But what I really like the most about when I'm analyzing this game right now is the fact that pitchers in good form for the Cubs, the teams hitting and winning, they're in great form, even going in on the road. And the numbers make sense just overall from the lean. The Cubs are looking at dog money too. I mean, you can't do any better when you don't have juice on the team that you're trying to bet on. So all those factors situationally just line up for me. I like the Cubs first 5 on the money line. I was looking at the William Hill book, and I saw that for plus 145 result after 5 innings. So that is where I'm leaning for the first play of the day.
So you mentioned no run first inning. Like, do you do a lot of those bets? I've never done one.
I don't do a lot of them, but there are certain pitcher matchups, if people can pick them out the correct way, and especially if the pitchers are both in really good form, which these 2 are, then it's something that I definitely give consideration to. But if I do that, that's like a half unit. That's just for fun. That's not intended to trump my overall wager for the game and anything like that. But I absolutely would go 1 unit on Cubs first five money line.
Now, what is your buy point, or like why won't play after X or whatever? You know what I mean? Like where
Yeah.
would you bet it?
So for the game, I mean, they're looking at excuse me, like a plus 120 money line right now. And the reason that I suggest the first five is that because when I go and look at the bullpens, for each of these teams, I can see that the Cubs bullpen in recent form is actually sporting a higher ERA, closer to 4. They've actually even been higher than that, up near as 5, and a whip of like 1.4 on average for themselves over the last few games. And even that's coming out of the break. So, that being said, I don't want to, worry about risking my money on, betting with the bullpen at that point. So, that's how I start to just kind of decide for myself, oh, I'm taking that out, that situational factor out for myself. And I think you have the best, chance in terms of value up front. Now, you asked that decision point for myself too. What I also factor in for myself is my ROI margin. Looking at, where this team would sit with a 145 odds in the first five is actually returning a 22.5% margin on that line. So, and the point at which that I make a decision to play a team that has that kind of margin is greater than 15%. And so sitting at 22% on that margin line right now ahead of the game as a dog with all those situational factors, to me, that is just a no-brainer for me to say that that is value. The team's in great form. There's no reason to shade away from the Cubs in this game.
Okay. What is your what's your second play of the day?
Yeah, so second play we got I'm looking at Oakland actually. Oakland, we got them playing against excuse me, just trying to pull up all the things where we got them playing against the White Sox. The White Sox were just in Colorado actually playing a 2-game set, had the day off yesterday. Meanwhile, Oakland, coming off a nice little win streak there, sweeping Houston at home, and um, looking really dominant actually for this matchup because they again found a way to be putting up runs. They've put up 15. They put up almost 25 runs in the last like 4 games combined against pitching. And again, I'm looking for the value in the matchup here. So where I actually focus the most is again first five money line on this team. You're looking at two pitchers going in opposite directions. Lance Lynn is sporting an 8 ERA and a whip of
Ooh,
1.5 over his
ooh.
last 3 games. And like I look at recent form and I take that average seriously. And the fact that, again, it's not like the White Sox are putting up many runs there, over the last few games. So in comparison, and then Caprielin, I can't say his name correctly.
Pronounce names worth a damn. You.
Caprielin or something. Anyway, his last 3 games, he's sporting a 2.2 ERA and a whip closer to 1. So it's like, between that, just from the starting pitching advantage over those first 5 innings, I'd rather take it out of the hands of my bullpen
Yeah.
again and just focus on, pitcher versus starting pitcher and the head-to-head matchup of that, along with just seeing the rhythm of what these teams are doing right now from an advantage standpoint. Granted, Oakland's bullpen is actually in really good form. They're actually sporting like a 2.5 ERA. So if anybody wanted to take them for the game, I would not blame you for that whatsoever. The White Sox bullpen, though, the last 3 is sporting an ERA closer to 7. So you line up that starting pitcher that already has like an ERA that's representing an average of 8 with their bullpen of an average of 7. You're looking at pretty good runs for Oakland here throughout the game, and to be competitive with a starting pitcher that should keep the White Sox bats pretty down. And if they keep continuing to have people like Luis Garcia and stuff out of their lineup for the Sox, I just don't see them keeping up with a hot team that really just surprised everybody at the beginning of this week and taking out Houston, sweeping them. So I'm going to ride the wave of where they're at on their win streak and just keep continuing where that's at. I'm seeing again on the William Hill Sportsbook a Oakland first five money line of plus 190. I can't see it right now, but usually the run line in the first five at the plus half is usually going to dictate probably also plus odds of plus 105 to plus 110 if that money line is also that high. So it'd be another situational factor to consider if you want to like bet the tie of after first five innings. If for some reason they're tied, you get that advantage with plus odds on the run line at plus a half, I'm sure, or you just go for the win in general. And if they do tie, you take the push. So you'd have a lot of great advantage of the first five in that matchup.
Okay, I like it. I like it. I like it. And your last play of the day is
Cleveland. I'm liking Cleveland right now with this matchup, and what we're looking at is actually Shane Bieber against Jeffrey Springs. It's looking like whatchamacallit, where are we at here on this one? Cleveland's in really good form. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, they're coming off losing 3 out of 4 on the road against Baltimore here. Again, I try to look at recent form and what these teams are saying to me in terms of where their pitching's at, and I take all situational factors into consideration. Effectively, again, this is where I'm seeing Cleveland has found a way to find their bats come alive and support their pitching staff. In the meantime, Tampa Bay is completely opposite. I mean, you start going down the line of the Tampa Bay's games, you go 0, 6, 3, 1, 2. It's like they are struggling to put up run support for their pitching staff right now. And I really just think that Cleveland bats can come out and really make, headway for themselves here. But when I actually look at, these bullpens as well, the Cleveland bullpen is like sitting with a pretty good average, right about with a whip of 1.2, which they're not putting many people on base with that. ERA is actually closer to 4, so it's pretty on par between these bullpens. Actually, Tampa Bay is kind of similar. They're sporting ERA of closer to 4.5, a whip closer to 1.5. So they're in a little bit worse form. Coming into this matchup and just in general, coming off of the road. Again, I think Guardians had a day off possibly yesterday, if I'm remembering correctly. And
they played the Sox yesterday.
Yeah. No, Sox played at Colorado.
The Red Sox.
Oh, right. So, right. So, but they won. So, like I'm saying, like they pretty much are just in that winning form right now. And everything I like about the game, I don't need to fret about the bullpen in this one. I just think over the long haul of the game, we're looking at a really good advantage for Cleveland, and they're actually kind of getting what they consider dog money on the book at minus 105. To me, that just tells me that the book is like, man, this game is way too close to call, and they can't figure out which way. I would expect this line to go more even as we get into Friday, deeper in the day, and maybe even like become flip flop on the heavier favorite to go to Cleveland at that point too.
Okay, so a little misvalued team there.
Right, exactly.
Yep. I have one play, and I rarely bet baseball, but I did a little research. I just bet the Red Sox and Brewers. It's sitting at 9 right now. I'm probably going to wait until Friday morning before I'd lock it in. Both these teams hit righties well. Brewers, third most homers versus righties, third most RBIs. Red Sox, ninth most ribbies versus righties, sixth best batting average. Last 3 starts for Bello, 9 hits, 5 runs, 7 hits, 5 runs, 6 hits, 4 runs, gone over 2 of the 3 times. You look at Woodruff, he started 6 games, both home and a road. Home, he's only given up 8 runs, but on the road, he's given up 25. So he does struggle a little bit more on the road. So I'm going to take the Red Sox and Brewers. I'll call it over 9 for the sake of the show.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely think you're going to get a lot of that run support coming from Milwaukee with the way that Bello is right now in form. I mean, that guy as well, he's in terrible form. He is not
bad.
good. He's bad. I mean, I was actually pretty hyped for him. I'm not going to lie. Like, I picked him up for my fantasy baseball team when he had some really good AAA numbers. I mean, he came up to the show he's just been getting annihilated game after game right now, averaging maybe anywhere like 5 to 6 innings. But they're doing that just so that way they can give their bullpen a relief. It's not that he's like being effective. He's got an ERA average of 10. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that you're going to find run support that you need for that total from Bello, no doubt.
Yeah, he's just not getting it done. So those are the 4 plays for tonight, Friday, July 29th. David is going to be here pretty much the rest of baseball season when our schedules work out where we can record. And then starting, I believe, week 3 of the NFL, right?
Yeah, week 3 or 4, we're going to definitely jump in on the NFL together.
Yep.
It should be right about that. Like I like to let stats like come in and make sure that I've got something current of form of where these teams are with definitely, how we are going to watch this season progress with NFL. So, yeah, it'll be great. I can't wait to get started again after giving out so many great winners with you at the end of last year's NFL and playoff season.
Yeah, you killed it, man. And I cannot wait for the NFL season to start. Thanks for coming on. Guys, make sure you give David a follow at BetterDP21 on Twitter and Instagram. And we will be back next week, and we'll be telling you what MLB bets to lock in. Until then, my friend.
Great. Thank you.